Hi guys, this is Andrea Dillon. I'm from Noak & Co. CPAs. Today's question, if you tuned in last week, you know that I'm doing a 3-part series on our most frequently asked questions about extensions. So let's dive right in. Today's question is, why do I owe more tax now, it's August 18th, when I'm filing, than when I prepared my return back in March or April and decided I wasn't ready to file yet? Why did my balance go up? So if you listened last week, then you know that we talked about, can I get another extension? And if you tune in next week, we're going to talk about, oh my God, I can't pay. What do I do? So today's question, why did my balance go up from when I initially prepared my return back in February, March, April, to now August, September, October, when I am finally ready to file? That is because the extension that you filed is an extension to file, not an extension to pay. A lot of people don't understand that. They prepare their tax return, or their CPA or whomever prepares their tax return. They call you up and they say, hey, Jane, you owe $10,000. Are you prepared to pay that? And Jane freaks out and goes, oh my gosh, I'm totally not. What do I do? And sometimes one of the options is, you know what, I'm just going to file an extension. And that gives me until October 15th, personally, to save up that $10,000 so that I'm ready to pay it when the taxes are due. The IRS may not know that you owe until you file that tax return. So sometimes just buying a little bit of time so that whoever, Jane, in our example, Jane can save some money and then she can be ready to pay it is sometimes what we do. Now, what happens in the meantime is there is a penalty assessed because she filed an extension, but she didn't pay the tax because she couldn't pay the tax. That's why she was extending. So that means that for her buying that time, those extra 6 months, there are penalties and interest spinning on that balance because the extension was an extension to file her taxes, not to pay. In a perfect world, Jane would have paid her $10,000 due by April 15th, filed her extension by April 15th, and then filed the tax return, which shows where that $10,000 is due by October 15th. Now, in the real world, a lot of people extend because they can't afford to pay or because they're not ready. So they don't know what they owe because they haven't sat down to pour through their receipts to figure that out. So they have no clue because their accounting is a mess. So that is oftentimes why people are extending. Now, what is the penalty? The penalty for filing your tax return and not paying the taxes, again, you filed your extension, all is good there, but you just couldn't afford or you didn't know what your taxes were. So you didn't pay your taxes until October 15th. The penalty on that balance, let's say Jane owes $10,000. The penalty is 0.5% of the tax due each month or part of a month. So if you don't file until, August 4th, we're August 18th right now. So you've got August penalty, even though you might file today during August. 0.5% of the tax due, not to exceed 25% of the total tax due. So there's a cap on it. It doesn't just keep going indefinitely. So if we put a number to that real fast, if Jane owed $10,000 and she had her return prepared, so she knew she owed $10,000, but she wasn't ready to pay it. Maybe she only saved $5,000, and she didn't want to go through the hassle of setting up a payment plan with the IRS because she thought that she could save it up in a few months. Over the summertime, she thought she could come up with it. So she files an extension. She doesn't pay anything. She files an extension. And then by October 15th, which is when her personal taxes are due with her extension, she's ready to pay. So now on that $10,000, she's got a $50 per month penalty, roughly calculating, which is 0.5% of $10,000, but it's going to max out at $2,500 in her case because that's 25% of the tax due. So I hope that this was enlightening. Remember, an extension is an extension to file, not an extension to pay. Most people filing now did not pay back in April for whatever reason. They either did not know what their tax due was or they could not afford to pay it. So most people now do have that penalty, but not everybody understands that penalty is coming. So that is a question we get all the time. How come when we prepared my return back in March, you told me I was going to owe, $10,000? And now when we're actually filing the return, why do I owe $11,000 or $10,500 or whatever that final balance is? That is why. Obviously, that means the more you owe, it's a percentage. The more you owe, the higher the penalty. So please Tune in next week if you still can't pay your taxes. That's the third most frequently asked question that we get. Question number 1 is, can I have another extension? Listen to last week's. It's just a few minutes, I promise, to hear the answer on that. This week's, why do I owe more now than I thought I was going to owe, or than you told me that I was going to owe when I'm actually filing? And next week's final episode of this 3-episode series about our most frequently asked questions about extensions is, I can't pay my taxes. What do I do? It's time to file. I'm out of time. What do I do? Thank you so much for listening in, and I hope that you have a great day.